Disclaimer for, firstly, trigger warning for talk of depression and suicidal ideation. This video is just me speculating about this song. I'm not an expert. If you don't agree with me, feel free to put your theories in the comments. I'm also not an expert on the topic of depression, so if I say anything incorrect, please correct me. And also, I speak really weirdly, and I want to try and do this in only a few takes, so I'm probably going to screw up some words. So from the title of the video, you might be going into this ready to tell me a much happier, sad-sounding song, but this is one of the happiest, sad-sounding songs that I've ever heard. This song is Fine I'm Fine by Chonny Jash. Yes, it is Chonny, not Connie. He says it in his cover of Welcome to Tally Hall and also in some interview that I read after I wrote this script, so I'm freestyling that part. This song was only released on September 2nd, but I just had to talk about it here, and so an analysis of it has been in my brain for the past couple of days that I just needed to do. So, firstly, who is Chonny Jash? To briefly sum him up, he's an Australian musician who is best known for his covers of Tally Hall and Miracle musical songs. This song, however, is completely original. Now, I'll probably be doing an analysis on those songs as well, because there is a lot to unpack, but let's just say those songs are usually very dark, detailing Chonny's struggle with depression and suicidal ideation and some other stuff, I guess. Luckily, this song has a much happier tone, which is nice. So let's get to the analysis.
Alright! Fucking fine. If you want, and I can finally admit it. It took, almost 23 years of doubt and fear and all that bullshit. I've hidden behind the screen with referential blackened sheen. I've poured my heart out dry to keep the sadness pristine. And for the first time in this whole damn life, it's been thrown at me. I think I might actually be happy.
Most of this verse is pretty self-explanatory. The line, "I poured my heart out dry to keep the sadness pristine," explains how the stuff he talks about in his songs is coming from the heart and not just sad for the sake of writing a sad song. He then says he thinks he might actually be happy for the first time. This verse goes into more detail on how he's actually feeling okay for the first time in a while, or maybe even forever. How he is able to be drunk without it only being for the sake of lifting some of the pain off him, and that his smiles are real and not just to give the appearance of being happy.
I've got good friends I can trust and lean on, I'm not have to use them yet. Got an end to a lie that means the bell curve inside my head. I've got more than I could ever expect and not one expected to wait at my respect yet. Ballistic in this ratio shows the role of shot bed.
Here, Chonny says that he has good friends he can trust and lean on in case things get bad again, but luckily that hasn't happened yet. He also says something about the means on the bell curve inside his head. I won't lie, I have absolutely no idea what that means. I tried looking it up and it just kind of didn't make sense, but I'm going to assume it's a good thing. Maybe, I don't know. This is one of the main verses that inspired me to make this video. Especially the lines, "I don't need a rose-tinted lens to brighten these greys. They're plenty vibrant, the frame merely gets in the way." I think there are many ways to interpret these lines. I have a very strange interpretation that might be completely wrong, but the way I like to do it is a rose-tinted lens being antidepressants. Chonny's saying that he doesn't need them anymore because things are starting to get a bit better. He's saying they're plenty vibrant, meaning that they do work, but he doesn't need to be dependent on them. Also, the line, "the frame merely gets in the way," could be referring to the limitations of antidepressants, either relating to the time frame or the effectiveness. Now, this is just speculation. I have no idea whether he was even on antidepressants in the first time. I just thought it was a cool interpretation. You could also look at the rose-tinted lens just being pretending everything is completely fine, or looking at the world through a rose-tinted lens, meaning looking at it with a false sense of positivity. But yeah, he's saying that he no longer needs that lens because things are actually better instead of him just pretending they're better. Also, one line that might confuse people, it's a strange new thing when a crocodile cries its tears out of joy, not deceit. This is a reference to the phrase crocodile tears, where someone is fake crying or crying to exaggerate. I'm fairly sure this is mostly an Australian thing. I might be wrong, maybe across the world also uses it, but here in Australia we do use that term a lot for when someone is fake crying. I personally love this verse because it's kind of like Chonny is looking back at himself, the self that didn't want to live and thought he'd die in hatred and resentment and shit like that, and saying to his younger self that he made it, and then he made it past those times. in this verse, I think Chonny is saying that he's going to stop holding himself back with his second guessing of himself, saying that if an idea's got good legs, then it'll run. This could also be a callback to one of his other songs. I'm freestyling this part of the script. This wasn't scripted. Was it? It's Nerd. It's Nerd. His Tim Minchin cover of Nerd, where he says he'll keep writing songs the world will never see. Maybe he's changing his mind on that, saying if it's a good idea, people will see it now, instead of constantly scrapping things because he thinks he's not good enough. Which, bro, trust, it's probably amazing, okay? He also is saying that despite being in a better place now, he will still continue to make songs, because he wasn't just making them because he was sad, he was making them because he loves writing songs. Yeah. Or hit the line, I sure as shit ain't done, could mean that, or it could mean that he's just not done with life, and he's moved on from, you know, those like suicidal thoughts. Yeah, I'm not sure though. You could interpret it either way. This verse, Chonny discusses how he knows that his depression has not and will not fully go away. He knows that there will still be lows, but he decides to write something upbeat and happy before that time. He wants to say he's fine without it being a lie.
This hellish death of the rage running. I get the hush, but I haven't glad. I don't wanna hide behind this state of mind anymore. I think what I thought is more than what I think. If this is truly consider me fully immersed. I don't make it hurt that. I'll enjoy the sun before darkness has come and this light has dispersed.
I'm doing good, mate.
In the final verse, he says that he does not want to continue being in a negative state of mind. He then says that if this is a trick, and it's all just a lie and his mind is playing tricks on him, then he'll still enjoy it anyway while it lasts. He then ends the song with a very Australian, "Yeah, I'm doing good, mate," which I laughed at when I first heard it, like, in a good way. It was so funny. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. I personally love this song so much, from the instrumental to the lyrics, and the meaning behind it, if there is, which I'm fairly sure there is. Fine I'm Fine is one of my favourite Chonny Jash songs to date, and I hope to see more like it in the near future. So yeah, I think that was pretty good for my first analysis video. I might do more of these in the future if I ever feel like it. Also, on this channel I usually do animations and editing. Go check that out if this is a different thing. And I'll try and get back on that grind as well. I've just been busy. Classic excuse, but yeah. Also unmotivated. But yeah. So have a good day, night, evening, afternoon, morning, etc., etc.